Hello there, YouTube. This is the Rogue Gem player to come at you with an Exosister deck profile. With a current new card coming out in the last set, figured we'd bring a version of the deck that plays the new support and actually kind of changes the deck to the point where the deck is a lot more consistent and you're less likely to rely on outside support for this kind of stuff. So let's get right into it. We are going to play 3 copies of Exosister Martha. Martha is the best card in this entire deck, hands down. You have to play 3 copies of her no matter what. It just opens up the entire deck. It's an instant rank 4 for an Exosister, because unfortunately one of the problems with this deck is that you pretty much have to play Exosisters as your only real extra deck summon, just because of the summon lock that this card puts you under, because it says for the entire turn, not just the rest of the turn, so keep that in mind. And then we play 3 copies of Exosister Ellis, which is the card that is summoned from the deck through Martha's effect, currently at the moment. We might get more monsters that will change that depending on how things go, but you do need to play 3 copies of her. And if you control an Exosister, you could special this card from hand. So that's all of the multiple cards. We do play 1 copy of Stella, 1 copy of Irene, and 1 copy of Sophia. You have to play at least one of each of them, just because they're more names. Stella's in here because you do play Ellis, and if you mainly because you do special an Exosister from hand. Irene and Sophia have their own thing, so keep that in mind. But you do have to play those names. Now for the spirit stuff. So we are playing 3 copies of Sakitama. I'm not playing Aratama in here anymore, or Nikitama, just because you don't need it anymore. This card allows you to normal summon it basically for free. So you use this card, normal summon it, and because the deck doesn't really want you to special summon outside of Exosisters during the turn you summon Martha, and Martha is the main card you want to bring out. So this is just a duplicate normal summon that you can use, which I think is pretty cool. So, and then we're playing 3 copies of Ichiki Sayori Hime. Same thing. The cool thing with this is that you can, if there's a light or dark monster in the game that has 800 attack or defense, you can use this card to search it. First and foremost, it does allow you to normal summon it herself just by activating her effect. She normal summons herself, and then on normal summon she does add a monster that's light or dark, that's level 4 with 800 attack or defense from deck to hand. So this instantly gets you an Exosister, because all the Exosisters, oddly enough, all have 800 attack or defense, which I think is pretty cool. So this is probably an in-themed card, inadvertently. We then play 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring as our choice of main hand trap. We play 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird and 2 copies of Nibiru to round off the non-engine. If you have Molcharmies, you can play Molcharmies. Please note the 5D's character decks are releasing very soon, and they will be reprinted in them, so please get those pre-ordered so you can have your own playset of them. Plus, the decks have other good reprints as well, for those of you that are a fan of the 5D stuff. For the spells, we are playing 3 copies of Exosister Packs. So this card can search any Exosister card. Okay, you pay 800, obviously. It is a quick play, so that's also neat as well. Now, if you add a monster by this effect, and the monster is mentioned on the... If the other monster mentioned on it is on the field or in the graveyard, you can special summon it instead. So if you have Stella in the graveyard and you have Ellis, if you add Ellis with this effect, you can special summon Ellis from hand. Or if you have Martha, if you add Martha and you have Ellis on the field or in the graveyard, you can special her. So that can get around the special summon clauses and things like that. So this is neato, always gives you a monster to play with. And then we play the 1 copy of Carpe Diem. This is just kind of in here to give your monsters protection from special summon monsters from the graveyard, which does occasionally happen. And then if you exceed summon, you could declare a card name and negate that effect for the rest of the turn. Not to mention that when your monsters when one of them declares an attack, you can destroy one spell trap on the field. So keep that in mind. We then play 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. This is good for negating boards and things like that, because a lot of this deck is 1 and 2 card combos. So it allows you to kind of board break a little bit, especially going second. And then we're playing 3 copies of Ultimate Slayer to help with that. This is good for getting rid of certain cards. You don't need the extra deck is really, really loose because I'm not playing 7th Tachyon. You can if you'd like. I just don't own 7 Tachyons right now. So this is a neat, good replacement. And the deck is consistent enough as it is. And then we play 1 Crossout and 1 Called by the Grave, because these are good generic non-engine to play. We then play 1 copy of Vadis, which summons Exosisters from the deck. Which it gives you material for quick exceed summons and things like that. It does lock you into Exosisters. Keep that in mind. We then play 2 copies of Returnia. This is used to effectively, if all of the monsters you control are Exosisters, you can pay 100, target a card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, and banish it, and then apply the effect. If you already have Exceed summoned, you could banish a card your opponent controls. If not, it allows you to Exceed summon, so, which I think is okay. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence as our last hand trap of choice. You could play variants of the deck that play more traps if you'd like. It completely depends on how you play it. So to start off, we're playing 2 copies of Exosisters Magnifica. Magnifica is kind of one of those cards where if you want to play a 3rd copy, you probably could, but this card is really designed to establish a situation where you can summon Michaelis on your opponent's turn with Returnia on the board, and that allows you to get rid of 3 cards for only 2 cards, because you're using 2 cards to get this all to go off, generally speaking. So this is neat to have. We then play the main one, 3 copies of Michaelis. She's probably the best one in regards to that. This is the only one you play 3 of. Being able to search Exosisters spell traps from deck to hand, destroy a card your opponent controls, or in their graveyard, and banishing it if you summon it on your opponent's turn is just really neat. So you use Magnifica to summon it on your opponent's turn, and you get to basically banish 3 cards. We then play 2 copies of Caspatel. This is the only other one you play multiples of, really. Searching monsters is really good. Not to mention, your opponent can't special from the graveyard if you summon this on your opponent's turn. So this will auto shut down games for some decks, like Tierman, things like that, or like Lightsworn and other things. We then play 1 Gibrine and 1 Astolfo. These are one-ofs that these are kind of situational. They don't really do anything on your turn. They do a lot of stuff on your opponent's turn. So keep that in mind. But it does give you the ability to do other stuff. This can buff your stuff. This can bounce a card. And then their on-field effects are really good as well. For the Ultimate Slayer targets, we were playing 1 of the Malong, 1 of the Garua, and 1 of the Elder Entity Entis. These are just targets for synchros and fusions, because we already have Exceed taken care of. You don't need Pendulum. That matchup doesn't really come up that often, and these are good targets because they'll do something on top of that, whether it's drawing you a card or destroying an additional card or bouncing a card. So, and then just in case, we are playing some links. We're playing 1 Lina, 1 8 IP Masquerena, and 1 SP Little Knight. These are just rare occasions where you absolutely have to use them, especially if you have not triggered Martha that turn. Because you will get to a situation where you kind of have to establish something. And these are good cards to go into, especially the SP or the IP. Just go into IP and the SP, and then you still have, removal when you need it. So, And yes, with the announcement of the new cards that are in, I believe, Burst Protocol, that means we are getting more stuff down the line. It just isn't happening right away. It'll make the deck more consistent, but we will see. So let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.